Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Shalom. This lesson, they just going into the system, the beast system that's being laid out right now. And I had asked ChatGPT, a few questions, and hey, Lord willing, this is edifying. So I'm gonna start here. This is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10 says, this is Yahushai speaking, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. His name is Yahushai, meaning he saves and he delivers, and he's going to save his people from starting with the elect, the 144,000, from the destruction that's coming. And ultimately, what he came to do is to save his people from their sins and to give us repentance and save us from all our enemies. So the enemies being the other nations. And just to go back into the scriptures, this is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. Yahushai speaking, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So again, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So what's getting ready to take place? This is a global event that's getting ready to take place. The MOTB is going to be worldwide. This is going to be a one world system. And this is going to, let's look at this word for temptation. This is G3986, Peirasmos. Said it's an experiment, a trial, a proving. And this is going to a trial of one's fidelity, integrity, virtue, and constancy. So this is going to be the last and final test before the kingdom of heaven. So this is going to be a trial of what you're made of, your integrity. Do you truly have Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's word in you? And ultimately, if you're going to be kept from this, those that are going to be saved from this, the elect, starting with the 144,000, have been chosen from the beginning. They're gonna keep the words of Yahushai, the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, with all integrity. They're going to be found guiltless in the times to come. So, going to the ChatGPT, because this is a global system that's getting ready to, that's already, and I'm just going to go into it because the AI will explain it. This thing is already ready to go. So I asked it, the prompt, it says, say you were organizing a new infrastructure, the digital age where everything and everyone is connected to the internet of bodies, including banking, identification, etc. What steps and order would you execute this? So what I'm referring to is this global system that's being set up. So it replies, if someone were organizing a new infrastructure for a fully connected digital age where banking, identification, and even human bodies are tied into a unified network known as the Internet of Bodies, the process would likely unfold in strategic phases, gradually moving from groundwork to control. Here's how such a rollout might look from top down, technocratic or governmental perspective. So it goes into phase 1, the infrastructure and foundation. Objective, build the hardware and software backbone. This is massive data infrastructure expansion. Lay global high-speed internet, 5G, 6G, Starlink, and all these things exist. You have 5G, you have 6G. Remember 5G, that was a big deal about 5 years ago. Now it's, pretty much not spoken about. And then also you have with the Starlink. All these satellites that you see, which if you're up early enough, you can see the satellites in the sky. But basically, there's a network of satellites up there to give internet anywhere around the world. It says develop powerful cloud edge computing systems, which everything is going to be in the cloud for this system to work. Expand data centers and quantum computing capabilities. Number 2, universal digital identity. So introduce digital IDs linked to biometrics, face, iris, and fingerprints. And this is all out there. You have the real IDs. You have digital IDs around different parts of the world, like I want to say Kenya. I know India has one. You have the Euro ID, if that's or the EID. You have the real IDs here, like I mentioned. It says integrate ID with passport, license, health records, and this is all pushing towards one world system. This is one unified thing. So it's push for blockchain based or centralized ID systems, cybersecurity, or it says India's Aadhaar, EU's EID, like I mentioned those two, cybersecurity and encryption protocols, standardized encryption frameworks for personal, financial, and health data. So develop quantum resistant cryptography. So everything is going towards this digital system, the digital security. You're gonna have your biometrics as a part of that digital security, because supposedly nobody can hack your bios, but you can be hacked, and the scriptures tell you that. I mean, just going off into a side thing, hey, you're subject to being hacked. You're subject to unclean spirits, to devils. Things take over you, and you like a puppet. And really, you don't even have your own free will. You don't have free will. You're doing everything that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has ordained you to do in your lifetime. But anyway, that just not important for this lesson. This it says phase 2, system integration and adoption. The objective is to get society to accept and adopt the tools, digital banking, infrastructure. So you're gonna have digital banking, like even the stuff that I use, like Cash App. There ain't no store or business front for Cash App that I can go to. Where? Probably like a little building out in Idaho somewhere or something like that. What's the other one? Like Venmo, PayPal, these things. Like, hey, we send our money. We use, sending each other money or paying for bills, all this stuff. Hey, there's no physical place. It's online. It's on the phone. So we're already used to using the digital platforms for money. It says get society to accept and adopt the tools, digital banking infrastructure, roll out a central bank digital currency, CBDCs, which these are coming. These are in the works. Phase out physical cash under the guise of safety, fraud prevention, or convenience. So physical cash, remember 5 years ago, that was really wanted to use heavy. They were saying there was change shortages. You had to pay either exact cash or with your card, and cash was really not. Cash was kind of frowned upon, because you had all these rules that they had made up. Like the 6 feet rule and this and that, and not wanting to touch something after somebody else, which is all just scaring you to go into moving towards cashless. So everything's moving towards cashless. So phase out physical cash under the guise of safety, fraud prevention, and convenience. Merge digital ID with banking access. No ID equals no access. So you're gonna merge your banking with your digital ID. So this here, which also it goes into, I'm gonna get to precept after this, is all this is going into one thing. And one easy, convenient thing, even though the people that are setting this up are making it harder for you. And this is the push into that direction. Like you would with cattle. You're fencing off the area, and you're herding them into a direction, which is into the slaughterhouse. So number 5, healthcare digitization. IO Internet of Bodies soft launch. So introduce wearables, implants, and sensors for medical monitoring. So you've seen all that, and that's also in Second Thessalonians. With this devil's the miracles that this devil was able to perform with the medical devices like Neuralink and things like that. So introduce wearables, implants, and sensors for medical monitoring. So you have the smart watches, the Neuralink chip, among other things. You have what is that? The deep brain stimulation. I did a lesson on a while back. So legalize and normalize implantable tech. So you're normalizing this. This has become normal. Build public trust through health benefits and messaging. So number 6, smart governance and surveillance. Implement smart cities with integrated surveillance, traffic, and ID tracking, AI systems for policing, public service access, social welfare distribution. So I'm going to get this real quick before I continue and get this Revelation 13 verse 16. Salaki. Matter of fact, I'll start with verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So this devil, Esau Edom, who's in rulership today, who's the world has been given into the hands of, the wicked, he's able to bring back this image, to bring this image to life, which is the image of the ancient Roman Empire, through their governance, through their harsh methods of dealing with things. Like how it says that if they wouldn't worship the beast, they should be killed. Through all kinds of their infrastructure, the way it's set up, it's mirroring, that the ancient Roman system. So it's like it's alive today, even though it's not really, but it is. So verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foot. Let's look at this word for mark real quick. This is G5480, charagma, and it says a scratch, an etching, a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or right hand as the badge of followers of the anti-Hamashiach. So also a thing carved, a sculpture or graven work of idolatrous images. So this is Salaki. This is a badge of servitude. This is that ID. You showing your allegiance to this beast, to this system, to the revived Roman Empire, to the NWO. It's a G5482 Charax. It says a pale, a stake, a palisade, and it's through the idea of scratching. So meaning that this device, which that charagma, is going to have all that information on there. Like it's saying, your banking, your ID, your biometrics, everything, your security, everything, your phone number is going to have everything on there that you need to be in this society that's being rolled out. And we're going to go further, G1125 Grapho, and it's to delineate, to write letters, basically to write letters on a tablet, parchment, or other material. And this RFID C-HIP or device, that's the other material. It's the coding. The coding is written into that material. So all your information is going to be on it, and it needs to be scanned. So all this is here. All this is ready to go. And this is what the prophet John, the Revelator, saw on the Isle of Patmos. This is what Yahweh Bashem Yahushai showed him through visions. And this is the Lord giving us a heads up in these last days. You know, what's taking place as I speak. You know, it's laying out right now. And smart cities are being laid out, walkable cities, 15-minute cities, whatever you want to call them. All this is being put out there. It says phase 3, behavioral conditioning and dependence. Objective. Oh, you know what? I didn't even read. You know what? I'm going to read this first and I'm going to come back to that. So, Lord willing. This phase 3, behavioral conditioning and dependence. Objective, normalize full digital integration and eliminate alternatives. 7, social credit integration, tie access to services, banking, travel, education to behavior. Use algorithms to assess trust or compliance scores. So all this is going to be laid out. If you already don't have that mark, you're not going to be able to do any of this. You're not going to be able to, the bank, to travel, to do anything. You're going to be looked at as the enemy. It says mandates and lock-in. Push for mandatory digital ID for employment, benefits, and healthcare. Require wearables for implants for certain secure roles. Ban or discourage offline transactions and anonymous behavior. So all this stuff, everything's going to be public. You're going to be, and it's not going to be like a good thing. Like I remember, around the Patriot Act, when that first started happening, you would hear people saying like, oh, if you're not doing anything wrong, then you have nothing to hide. You should be okay with like letting the government, spy on you and whatnot. If you're not doing anything wrong. Well, the same idea is here. So if you're not doing anything wrong, like you should let the people put a chip in you. So back to this Revelation 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you're not going to be able to buy, sell, participate in society, travel, do anything unless you had this mark. That says, I'm bound, and if you get in that, you saying I'm bowing down to Esau Edom. He is my God. I love him. I love the white man. But it's serious. It sounds funny in your head or whatnot, but it's serious. When you see these people, they like when this rolls out, Jake is going to be so unprepared for this. 2/3. You're not paying attention. You're not listening. You mocking. You scoffing. You worried about nonsense. When this comes upon you, you're not going to know what to do. So you're just going to hold your hand out and take it. And that's going to be it for you. Phase 4, the total system integration. Merge everything into a seamless, centralized digital organism. One ID, one wallet, one interface. So combine ID, banking, voting, and social data into one interface, app, chip, etc. Like I said, all this is going to be contained in that CHIP. It's all going to be in there. Everything. Remove redundancy in documentation. Everything becomes tokenized or digitized. So the digitized, that's that grapho being written on that C-hip. The information is on there. You no longer need to carry around paperwork with you. This is more convenient. Digital twins and constant monitoring. Maintain digital shadows or twins of every citizen with full behavioral profiles. Also, these C-hips, hey, they monitor your health. They monitor your blood pressure, your breathing, everything like that. Your nutrition levels, and even coming down to what you're thinking, based on the stuttering, based on the different algorithms that your body puts out, based on the different rhythms that you put out. When you're angry, your heart might start beating faster. Things like that. When you're excited, your heart might start beating faster. When you caught up in something, when you panicking, your heart rate rises. You start breathing faster. When you got this, they determine, he's lying about something. What are you hiding? It looks like it looks like your chip is reading something. What's this guy hiding? Go into his memory banks. Look at his dreams. What's he been dreaming about? Go through the records, see what he's looked at throughout the day. Oh, you've been looking at contraband. These things are banned. Negative 10,000 social credit. So autonomous governance, and this is optional phase. They're going to do this. Introduce AI-driven policy decisions, possibly claiming to be unbiased. Which, if you looked at AI stuff before, there were always a bias towards Jake, towards the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Human governance becomes symbolic or obsolete. So it just has a summary table. And it's kind of interesting. It says to go through the infrastructure, integration, dependence, and control. So lay groundwork, roll out tools, ensure adoption, and then centralize it. So all these things are here. So critical tools use fear and convenience, and this is a big thing. Like it goes into Revelation 13 and 16 and verse 17. This is fear and convenience, because he causes all. So whatever is going to happen is going to be the dollar crashing, a global pandemic, anything. This is going to cause major fear to where people are going to be willing to bow down to whatever to bring that convenience back. Use pandemics, cyber attacks, or economic collapse as a reason for adoption. Incentives and nudges. Early adopters receive benefits, basic income, faster services, normalization through media, push the Internet of Bodies and digital ID as the future of freedom and health. And you got all kinds of influencers out there, all kinds of social media making skits and doing all kinds of things, selling products. You got people that are going to be falling for this. But that's just how Yahweh Shemi Al-Shah wants it. So I had a flow chart, but it's not important. But I asked it after that, and I'm gonna close out it. Lord willing, probably come back with a part 2 for this. It says, are there real world examples of this happening? And in the chat says, yes, many aspects of this infrastructure are already being developed or implemented around the world. Here are real world examples that align with each phase of the Internet of Bodies and digital control framework. So phase 1, infrastructure and foundation. So massive data infrastructure expansion. So it starts with Starlink or SpaceX. It says global satellite internet coverage, 5G rollouts, enabled high speed, low latency connections for the Internet of Things or slash Internet of Bodies. The smart cities like Singapore, Dubai, and South Korea, Songdo, are wired with sensors, data hubs, and full connectivity. Oh, that sounds like what were they trying to do a few years back? I think the Google Fiber. It just sounds like that to me, but not having done any research on it. So Lord willing, I'm gonna go back and do some research on that because these are all like super smart, futuristic cities, especially when you look at Dubai. So universal digital identity, India's Aadhaar says over 1.3 billion people enrolled. What do they have? Like I don't remember how many billion people live in India. I think it's over 5. I don't know. That's a big number. Like there's a lot of people that live in India. Over 1.3 billion people enroll with biometric linked in digital ID. Damn. EU digital identity wallet set to unify digital IDs across Europe by 2026. And we're in June. Ain't no microchip. We're in June right now, so by 2026, that's could be January, early in the year. That's only that's less than 6 months because we're already almost in the middle. Was it the 14th right now? So it's less than 6 months. They're looking to roll this out in the EU. So EU digital identity wallet set to unify digital IDs across Europe by 2026. The ID 2020 Alliance, supported by Microsoft, GAVI, and the UN, promotes global digital identity or digital ID initiatives. So, yeah, this is a all over the world. This is cybersecurity protocols, zero trust models require constant identity verification. So that's basically you getting constantly hit with the what are them things? I'm not a robot. That all of that, and then you also have with your biometric scanning. Scanning your iris, whatever it is, it's going to be constantly testing. Which that's also a thing that's pushed. Fraud. Oh, you need better protection, better protection. The hackers are getting smarter, but this is all pushing into that direction. So phase two, and this is all examples of this happening live, real time. Like I said in the top, like I asked it, are these things happening in the real world? And it says yes. This is all real world examples. So phase two, digital banking infrastructure, CBDCs, China's digital yuan, widely piloted, used for transit shopping. It's already being used. Nigeria's e-naira, EU's digital euro, and US's Fed Now, which I haven't heard too much about the Fed Now in a while, but all these things are being rolled out. When it rolls out here, it might not even be called Fed Now. Seeing who's in charge, it might be named after him. Banking access via biometric ID used in parts of Africa and India. So this is already being used. Biometrics are already being used. Digital currencies are already being used. Not just the cryptocurrencies. Healthcare digitization, IOB soft launch, implants and wearables. Neuralink is even being used. So Neuralink, brain computer interfaces tested in humans, smart contact lenses, Google's shelved project now picked up by other firms, which more focusing on the Neuralink, even though all these things could work together. But the implantable things are the ones that we're looking at, not smartwatches, even though they can track you, do all that stuff. Because what it says is it's in their hand or in their forehead in Revelation 13. So just because you wearing a smartwatch, that don't mean you got the MOTB. It has to be physically inserted inside of you. It says micro C-hips in Sweden, used for access control, transit, and even vaccination records. So this is being used all over. And Sweden was the first one really, besides the, I think it was called the Baja Beach Club, that had the micro C-hips, but Sweden is like the first country to fully implement this. Even though it's not mandatory there, it's voluntary, but they're the first country to really do this on a wide scale. Smart governance and surveillance, China's citywide surveillance, facial recognition, and behavioral tracking tied to ID. UK's live facial recognition, police use real-time scanning in public, and the UHDHS, Department of Homeland Security, testing AI-based pre-crime detection and biometric checkpoints at airports. So pre-crime detection. If you haven't seen the movie Minority Report, that's a great movie to watch. Dealing with that, they supposedly got rid of all the crime, but by being able to go into pre-crime, being able to judge if somebody, before they commit a crime, are able to commit a crime, and basically get rid of them before they commit a crime. So before they've even done anything wrong, you're gonna get rid of them. What kind of stuff is that? Like you ain't even like, oh, you look like you're about to do something. Your vitals were showing that you were about to commit a crime. Meanwhile, this devil here is the biggest criminal on the earth, which is why Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is coming to put him down. And also, going into that, the Palantir, that's been in the news lately. So phase 3, behavioral conditioning and dependence, social credit integration. China's social credit system tracks citizen behavior and assigns scores affecting travel, jobs, and loans. Pilot trust scores trialed in the West through ESG ratings, consumer loyalty scoring, and algorithmic trust assessments. So all this is going on. All this is out there. The system is laid out. So mandates and lock-in, and I'm not going to say that. So the jab passports to see passports required to access work, travel, or public venues. So you remember that, and that was all BS. Everything about that was BS. It was just something they just made it up. It sounded good, and people were too scared, and everything shut down. Everything shut down. People complied. You had some people that didn't. Not everybody took that thing. ID linked benefits in India. Government benefits required Aadhaar. In India, government benefits require Aadhaar verification. So if you want to get certain things from the government, you got to get in with that Aadhaar. So digital only access, some banks, transit, and stores are going cashless and app only. Like I mentioned, like my banks that I use, they're online only. Ain't no physical branch I can go to. Uber, all this stuff online. Digital twins and monitoring, DARPA projects, digital simulations of soldiers' health and performance, Microsoft and NVIDIA working on industrial and individual digital twins, which I'm going to have to look up what a digital twin is. I think it's just I want to say it's like your avatar, your online entity of you and everything about you, but in a digital space. But that's, you know what? Since I'm right here, I'm gonna look that up. And Salaki, just going through, haven't read too many scriptures, but it's gonna pull up. A digital twin is a virtual representation of a real world entity or system, such as product, process, or facility. And if you're here in Babylon the Great, or if you understand how the elites of Esau Edom think, you are the product. You. It acts as a digital counterpart, enabling users to monitor, simulate, and optimize the physical entity's behavior and performance. Essentially, it's a dynamic, constantly updating digital model that mirrors its physical twin, facilitating various applications like design, testing, and predictive maintenance. Okay, so I think I think I was fairly close in my guess. It was an educated guess. So basically, gathering all the information about you and putting it in a digital space of what you are, so they can analyze it. So imagine, okay, you take all the information about you, the things that you read, the things that you take in, the things that you consume, and then you put all that in an algorithm and sort it out and all this kind of stuff. You're gonna get out, what you what I want to say diagnosis, but I don't think that's the right word. But basically, what you can tell about the person. Oh, this person, they're going to be prime material for the MOTB. Look, they're compliant, this, that, whatever. They follow orders, they do whatever they're told. They don't even think about it. This other person here, they question authority. They see, what's going on. They didn't like this kind of stuff. They're heavy into the Bible, whatnot. They're going to be a problem. Things like that. So going to phase 4, total system integration. One ID wallet interface as WeChat combines ID, messaging, banking, transit, and social life in one app. So that's an app that has all that, but you'll be able to use that C-hip to go through everything, especially with the Neuralink. Hey, you're not even gonna you and the computer are gonna be integrated. You and your phone are gonna be integrated together. Y'all are gonna be one. So you're gonna be able to message people in your head. You're gonna have a unskippable YouTube ads in your head. In your dream, it's gonna be, interrupted with ads unless you get the Dream Pro Plus, the Dream Pro Plus Premium 3, subscription. This is a fucking nightmare. So India's UPI and Aadhaar plus Health Stack merges banking, ID, and medical access. Digital twins. Oh, Palantir. Here it is. Palantir. Digital twins and AI prediction, which basically what Palantir is. It's going to be AI. That's why, man, it's going to be Palantir used by governments for predictive policing and social modeling. So predictive policing, basically, this guy's going to be a problem. These people are problems. Scan everybody at the protest. Scan everybody that's voicing their opinions. U.S. DoD's GIDE AI war games integrated real world data with AI decision making. So autonomous governance, AI judges. China has begun using AI to assist legal rulings. Heavy data or heavy automation in tax, or that's Estonia. Heavy automation in tax, legal, and civil functions with minimal human input. So in Estonia, they rely heavily on automation in taxing, legal, and civil functions, and they don't really rely on people at all. They just think that, yeah. So patterns and key drivers, crises as catalysts, pandemics and economic crashes, and cyber attacks accelerate public compliance. So compliance, because they want the comfort. So it's uncomfortable being in those kind of situations. So what are they? They're gonna do whatever it is to bring back some form of comfortability, even though the comfortability that comes is with a price, and you have less freedom than you had before. So public-private partnerships, entities like the WEF, the World Bank, and big tech companies often collaborate. Which, yes, normalization through technology, people accept small conveniences. The biometric unlock health tracking that slowly evolved into dependence. So all this is basically you relying on Esau Edom, you saying that he's your God, you love him, you want to go to him for the one of all things rather than rely on the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So I'm gonna actually, you know what? I'll just keep reading for this, and I didn't even bother reading what it was asking me right here, but I responded with again what I started off with Revelation 3 and verse 10. It says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." So this is what's coming. This is the infrastructure that's being set up and is almost ready to go. And so it says, and broke it down for me. I ain't asked you to. I just put that in reply. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. This refers to enduring faithfulness and obedience under trials. The word of patience is the command to wait, endure, and remain loyal to the Messiah, Yahushai, especially during times of pressure or persecution, because this is going to be very hard times. Like it says, times of high pressure. This is going to be the highest pressure that's ever. You know, there's not been a time like this in all of history. And persecution. You know, not only you're going to be hated for being an Israelite, for being a Hebrew Israelite, for wanting the downfall of this wicked kingdom, but also because you're not participating in this beast system. You know, you're enemy number one. And ultimately, hey, this is all because Esau Edom wants his birthright back. He wants to get rid of you Israelites. So he knows that he has a short time, so he's pulling out all the stops. That's why all this algorithms and AI and all these things are all coming together, so he's really coming after the elect. He wants to wipe out all of Israel. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, a promise of protection, not from general trials, but from a specific prophesied time of global testing. So this is we're going to be protected. We're covered already, you know, starting with the 144,000 by the blood of Yahushai. You know, that, I mean, we're going to have to go through this, but we're still going to be protected. We're going to be taken care of. You know, if we die in Yahushai, guess what? We keep our crown. We keep our reward. This is a trial of your faithfulness to Yahushai, to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Which shall come upon all the world. This isn't a localized event. It is a worldwide trial affecting all nations, a final period of testing or deception. So this is the stops are being pulled out. This is the last Trump. This is the last go. This is it before the kingdom of heaven. To try them that dwell upon the earth. This aligns with other scriptures like Revelation 13 and verse 8 that show a distinction between the faithful remnant and those who are ensnared by the beast system. Because the faithful, they're not going to they're not going to take part in this. So prophetic alignment with today's world, which I don't even think I posted. No, I didn't even post Revelation 13 and 17. The first scripture I posted in this prompt was Revelation 3 and 10. So prophetic alignment with today's world. The hour of temptation is not just about personal sin. It is a global testing involving enforced digital systems, buying and selling restrictions, Revelation 13 and 17, that went into earlier, moral and spiritual compromise, bowing to man-made power and beast worship, conformity to a technocratic and anti-Messiah system, because this man puts himself up as God, showing himself that he is God. 2 Thessalonians, temptation to preserve your life through compromise, which it quotes Luke 17 and 33. So let me see here. I know I had that pulled up. So this is Luke. I'm going to get it in the KJV first. This is Luke 17 and verse 33 and where'd it go? In the King James Version, whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. So you're going to try to save your life in this system. You're going to end up losing everything. You're going to lose your crown, everything like that, if you're an Israelite, which was never for you. Because the elect of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, they've been chosen from the beginning. They're not going to get this. They're not going to do it. And if you through the discomfort that this devil is going to make to push you in a direction to receive his mark, that you hold your hand out, and you're going to lose everything because you're seeking comfort. And again, this is the NLT. If you cling to your life, you will lose it. And if you let your life go, you will save it. So again, if you cling to your life, you will lose it. And if you let your life go, you will save it. So clinging to this life, you're going to lose it. These things are, the fashion of this world passeth away. These things are gone. Trying to hold on to your family, your wife, your house that's mold infested, your stupid ass job. This life here, this is all bullshit. So we gladly give this up for Yahushai. Because we got a better reward coming. Like Peter asked Yahushai, we have forsaken all. And we're going to receive a way more than what we gave up, and better quality too. So back to the chat. So temptation to preserve your life through compromise. In today's terms, this could relate to being coerced into digital ID or implants to maintain access to food, healthcare, money. So this is what's being pushed. This is the big bully, and eventually, you see it with the ICE, the raids, the protests. This. Oh, let me get it. Revelation 13 and verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So this devil, this is speaking of America. The two horns represent the two government, the two-party system. The Republicans and Democrats, going back to ancient Greece, which I believe it was the plebeians and patricians. Speaking like they're for you, on your side or whatever, but truly it's a dragon. And that dragon is coming out. The harsh laws going to Draco. The harsh laws where everything, the penalty for it was death. This is what's coming. So you're going to be coerced, being forced to it. Being forced to choose loyalty to the system or over loyalty to Yahweh. which no man can pluck the elect out of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's hands. So the elect are always going to be loyal to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So again, it says the promise of protection. This verse provides hope and encouragement. If you endure, stay faithful, and reject the pressure to conform, Yahweh will shield you from what others are being tested with. So, I mean, we're still going to have to go through it. We're still going to have to be tested ourselves. But the difference is if we're going to come out successful. When I say we, hopefully I'm of that number, but the elect are going to come out successful. So, I'm going to stop it right here. And Lord willing, I can come back and continue. So, Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakachodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Shalom.